Shyness isn't a biological problem, it's a philosophical problem. When you feel shy, you believe there's an insurmountable gap between you and other people, and that other people were created from this otherness, which makes them completely different from you. So this is going to sound like a judgment, but your shyness is an excessive way of feeling special. Because this otherness we're speaking of is the general assumption that other people never feel lonely, they never make social mistakes, they're completely self-sufficient, they know everything they need to know, they never want to be bothered or spoken to, and they do not share in any of your all too human secret desires, confusions, or anxieties about life. So to overcome shyness, you need to change your social philosophy. But before we do so, let's get clear that we're on the same page with our definitions. By shyness, I don't mean social anxiety or introversion. Social anxiety is the persistent fear of socializing, even after events have finished. Introversion is the preference for quiet and less stimulating environments, whereas shyness is the fear of being judged by others while an event is happening. Of course, these three things can overlap, especially the first two, but we're just going to hone in on shyness. But before we get into the how-tos of how to overcome it, I just want to preface with one thing. Shyness is incredibly normal. Imagine you're a caveman back in the day, sat outside your stable making cheese or whatever you were doing back then. You suddenly look up to see a barbarian with a beard appear over the hill, and you say, "Guys, stop! Stranger, come down here, we're making cheese." Shit, he's got an axe. Inviting him with open arms into your village for a tour and a bit of cheese would likely result in you losing 2 legs and your family being no more. So, your shyness isn't a pathology. It's a way of protecting yourself from potential danger. But you're led to believe shyness is a pathology because you exist in a society that is optimized for extroverts and go-getters. So your shyness is incredibly normal and understandable. But taken too far, of course, it can get in the way of your socializing. So, now let's cover how to overcome it. When you feel shy, you become inwardly focused and you let your imagination run wild. You convince yourself you're a complete outcast at the event you're at. You have nothing worthwhile to contribute to any conversation, let alone start a conversation, and you feel there's a spotlight on you at all times, exposing all of your flaws to other people. But most of all, you convince yourself that other people are completely different from you. So instead of approaching other people as if they're completely other to you, that you belong to the group of anxious boys and she to the clan of attractive girls or vice versa, or that they belong to the rich upper class and you to the average middle working class, humanize this person and try to find the common ground between you both. To exemplify this, about 2 years ago I was a salesman in a very busy gym, and it was my job to cold call people, but also around 30 times throughout the day, strangers would walk into the office, knock on the door and ask to be given a tour around the gym to see if the membership was worth signing up for. So it was my job to turn on the charisma, sell myself, sell the facilities in the hopes that they sign up for the membership. But when I first started the job, I felt very shy giving tours. I had no idea what to show them or let alone what to speak to them about on that long walk down that long lonely corridor towards the gym. But one day one of my sales managers taught me something I will never forget. He said, "Lewis, no matter who walks through that door, whether it's a 17-year-old kid wearing skateboard clothes or a 57-year-old woman dressed as if she's about to go on a dinner date, you can always find one thing about that person that you like and one thing that you both have in common. So the next time you feel shy, that's your job. Find one thing about this person you're speaking to that you like and one thing that you both have in common." Note, this last thing probably won't be too hard to do considering we all have a nose, pair of eyes, butt cheeks, a family that we love and hate, the secret desire to wake up and spend your day doing nothing but scrolling, watching unusual memes and eating cornflakes, as well as the occasional thought of what happens after death and what is life all about, finalised with the occasional urge of when you're stood at a high place like a cliff to chuck yourself off. Just me? Okay, but to find these two things, you have to be in a conversation, and your shyness is likely going to hold you back from opening conversations with people. So here are some tips to get the ball rolling. Let's say you have an upcoming social event that's making you feel nervous. You've got a party to go to, or a networking event, or you have to go into the office to work, or you have to meet your, good God, partner's family for the first time. Set intentions. Give your mind something else to pay attention to rather than going inward. For example, I just want to have one meaningful conversation with someone. And then when you achieve that objective early on, you'll feel accomplished and you'll have an abundance mindset of anything else I do while I'm here is now a bonus because the objective has been achieved. Life hack. The best intention to set to stave off shyness is try to make one person feel as comfortable as possible. Put all the attention on them, away from yourself. Number 2, open yourself. It all starts with your body language. Consider your non-verbal cues like a trailer for a movie. They let other people know what might be coming, which means whether you're a friend or a foe, you're approachable or you're not. So, a few things. Eyebrows and eyes. Keep them very relaxed. Don't be alert on edge, constantly scanning your environment. Keep them chill. Second of all, loosen your shoulders. Don't be so stiff and rigid and closed off to people. You might be naturally, but remember, whatever your body is signalling to the external world, it's also signalling to your brain of what emotions you should feel. We're tensed off and stiff. Oh my God, that means there's a threat in the environment. Spark anxiety now. That's the conversation going on with your body and brain. Loosen your shoulders. Second of all, sounds weird, but tilt your head. Tilt your head. Don't be so stiff in your neck. A lot of the times as men we do this to assert our dominance, but people who tilt their head, especially in conversations, are seen as more attractive and more approachable. Because think about it, I'm exposing the main arteries that carry oxygen to my brain. So if I just have a nice open posture with my neck and I've got loose shoulders, I don't have to approach people. Other people can see me and see that, oh yeah, he's a pretty approachable guy. He seems like he's angling for a conversation perhaps. Now you can signal people across the room and be like, hey, look, exposed? Come chat. By the way, animals do this all of the time. So the next time your dog looks up at you and is like, just say, oi, cheeky bugger, I know what you're doing, trying to butter me up. Number 3, call out the obvious. Notice something about someone and bring it to their attention. For example, you're at a networking event and you see someone stood towards the exit and they're constantly checking it. Have a brief walk over and as a passing comment say, seems like you're ready to leave, and see if they reciprocate your energy back. This will take courage. It will. But other things that you can use similar to this is empathic statements. So you can use this to open or flow within the conversation. You look happy, or looks like you're having a good day. This signals to other people that you care about their well-being and you're willing to receive them. What this might look like in a conversation is, let's say you're at an event with loads of people there. You can approach someone and with a simple opener say, hi, my name's John, what's yours? Vicky, it looks like you're having a good day. If they genuinely look like they're having a good day. I sure am, but it's been a long week. Oh, so you've been quite busy lately. I sure have 60 hours of work, and she continues. The framework is so you. You follow up what someone has said with a brief reflection and an interpretation of what that might mean. But don't worry if you get the interpretation wrong. More often than not, other people will correct you and it just keeps the conversation flowing. You don't have to say this after everything they say. You can use it in your first few sentences and then it's up to you to take the conversation wherever you want it to go. Finally, point number 4, always have one default topic to rely on. You might want to ask people about their favourite music, their favourite meal, their job or their hobbies. That will help you steer clear of those moments in conversation when you're unsure of what to say next. But if you do make a social mistake and you fumble your words or you feel you're coming across as awkward or you spill milk all over yourself, this is what other people do inside when they see your social mistake. They go, oh my God, thank God I'm not the only one. You humanize yourself and enable them to connect with you when you make a social mistake. Feel free to end the video here, but if you want to go a little bit further, I have 2 mindset shifts for you, 1 question and a closing tip. Shyness can also arise because you put other people and events on pedestals. For example, if I was to introduce you to your favourite celebrity tomorrow, you'd likely become quite shy because you've idolised them in your mind. So too, if an attractive stranger randomly approached you, you might become tongue-tied and shy because you believe they're way out of your league. So, destroy the pedestals. Put no one and no thing above the level at which you put yourself. Not in an egotistical way, but with the wholehearted understanding that we're all human, and no one deserves the title of being anything more than human. As the French philosopher Michel Montaigne said, even sat upon the highest throne, you're still sat on your arse. We all put our trousers on the same way, we all urinate in the same way, more or less. And remember, you need to depedestalize events as well. Because let's say you've got something upcoming that is now making you feel nervous. You feel nervous in anticipation of this thing because you've heightened the importance of it. So have an attitude towards it. Whether it's a job interview, you're meeting someone for the first time, you've got a party upcoming, or you're going on a first date, have an attitude in your mind where you're like, yeah, whatever, it's not that important. I'll go, see what it's like, and I'll be back sooner or later, and it's just a part of my life. Of course, while the thing is happening, be enthusiastic about it, but in anticipation of it, be like, yeah, whatever. I did this recently. About 3 months ago, I was invited to do public speaking for a big company in Croatia in front of their 50 employees. Shouts out Avery and Modash and the crew. And upon the invitation, I felt quite nervous in anticipation of it. But the way I rationalised it in my mind was, whatever. I've got plenty of things on this month. It might be fun, might not be, but either way, it'll be a cool holiday. But while it was happening, of course, I was enthusiastic about it. So have an attitude. Also, consider this perspective change. You're a buyer, you're not a seller. Shyness can also arise because you believe you have to prove yourself to other people and that they must like you, lest they discover your inner reprehensibility. But in the same way that you'd adopt the mindset of being a buyer if you're being toured around a house for the first time, and the salesman would be the seller to soften you up for the sale, adopt the same approach when you're socialising. Stop creating the dynamic that you have to prove yourself to other people and start fostering the dynamic that other people have to prove themselves to you. Not in an egotistical way again, but with the wholehearted understanding that your time is extremely limited. You will take your final breath one day, which means you could be spending your time doing anything else right now, but you're spending it with this person. So your presence has purpose. But, as mentioned, if you fear exposing yourself in social situations, I'd like you to keep this question close at hand. How exposed can you be? It's a bit of a weird question, but if you ask it of yourself in those moments when you feel shy, you'll begin to see it as a challenge. Then you might voice your genuine opinion in that conversation, despite that voice in your head telling you not to, or you'll hold eye contact with people for longer than usual just to see what happens, or you'll ask that stranger in the queue at the cafe where they got their cool trainers from, and then you'll gift yourself the opportunity to realise exposure doesn't kill you. And it's only by exposing yourself to the world that you're able to gift others the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get to know you. And remember, if worse comes to worse and you do make a social mistake, you say the wrong thing, you fumble over your words, or you spill milk all over yourself, most people probably didn't notice, and even if they did notice, then at least you've given them the ability to connect with you and realise that that time when they spilt milk all over themselves or said the wrong thing, they don't need to feel embarrassed about, because other people do it too. We're all human. But the last thing I want to leave you with is labels are for food, not people. Which is to say, you don't need to keep calling yourself shy and keeping yourself rooted into one psychological dimension of being. As Alan Watts said, you're under no obligation to be who you were 5 minutes ago. Stay disciplined, playful, and dangerous. Adios, muchachos y muchachas.